Good evening. Welcome to Star Talk. I'm Ken Eccles, and we're happy to have you with us on the program tonight. And just as we come on the air, I get a big thing on my computer monitor that says medium severity detected during scan. Scan. Apparently, high level hackers, international hackers, are attempting to access our program tonight. Um, my anti-malware software has found them out. So we'll be real careful about that. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good evening to you, Ken.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, sir. I hope you are.
Yes, I am.
Good. Ken, you got a pen and paper handy?
I will have in a second.
All
Now
right.
I do.
Here you
Yes.
go. You ready?
Yep.
439 US 60.
439-US 60. That's the case I was looking for today. If I'd had that number, I would have found it.
Well, I'm sorry I did not give it to you yesterday. I thought about it after I hung up. I thought I could have made his life a whole lot easier.
Yeah. I found a lot of stuff today, but I did not find that. 439 US 60.
Yep, 1978. And the title of it is Holt Civic Club versus City of Tuscaloosa.
Okie dokie. That's about the only piece of jurisprudence I didn't see today.
Well, my apologies for not giving you that information later. I thank you, sir, and I've taken up far too much of everybody's time. I hope you have a good evening.
Well, thanks for calling. Good to hear from you. You don't have to rush off, but certainly you and everybody else have better things to do than watch this show. So thanks for calling. There's the phone number up there if you'd like to give us a call. The email address is kechols47@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear from you either by phone or by email. And we've got a couple of emails over here. Somebody has sent me a thing. Hi, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Ken. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I wanted to ask you a question.
Okay.
I was going to ask you, where's all them, out there where that fire is in California, where's all them homeless people go? You know, where they was talking about being nuisance in front of businesses and neighborhoods and all of that? Did they get them out of the fire, or?
The most of the places where the homeless people congregate, that's mostly in the downtown area. That's not where the fires are. The fires are out in the suburbs, out in the hills around Los Angeles. So the homeless folks are not really in the places where the fires are burning.
Oh, okay. Because I know I didn't hear nothing about the homeless people, nothing like that, And,
well, of course, a lot of the people who lost their homes technically homeless themselves. But as far as the chronically homeless people that you're talking about, that really is not where they are.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I didn't know. That's why I wanted to ask you about that, because I ain't heard them say nothing about the homeless people. The ones I know, the ones that burned the houses down homeless, but the ones that they were saying it was nuisance, around the businesses and all that stuff. I just wonder how they got out of there.
Fires are not downtown, which is where most of the homeless people are.
And they got a new one brewing up now in California.
Yep. The wind is up again. They're having those terrible winds, and another fire has started, and so they're right back in it.
Yeah, I know. I seen that on TV a while ago, where them kids in school and everything was running and everything. They're trying to get away from it.
Well, we just have
over the ridge.
Keep them in our prayers.
Yeah, that's what we got to do. Okay, Ken, I'll let you go. I just wanted to ask you that question. I didn't know if any UFOs come and picked them up or what, because I ain't heard nothing talked about them.
Well, they wouldn't tell us about the UFOs anyway, would they?
Yeah, no, they wouldn't. Okay, well, I'll talk to you later then.
Well, thanks for calling. Good to hear from you. what was I about to do earlier? Oh, I was going to read email. Um, I'm at that point in life where if I get distracted from something for more than 2 minutes, I forget what I was doing. Um, emailer says, um, Ken, has this been the? Well, I'll answer that question in a second. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Ken.
Yeah.
Now, I work at Food Line.
Uh-huh.
Boy, I've been there 8 years. And they asked me, did I have a fellow? They won't go hire me. And we got a president, 34 felons, and been convicted. And the president of the United States. I mean, it's something wrong with that, Ken. That ain't right. And them people who broke in the Capitol building, he done pardoned some of them that walked on out of the prison. And
Well,
done killed the police and everything. And it just disgrace the way Trump is. It just don't make no kind of sense. That fool is the president. And thank you, Ken. And give me your answer on all this. Thank you. You're doing a good job.
thank you for calling. I hope you got your job that you applied for. As far as the president and his felony convictions, uh, that's not a question we ask somebody who runs for public office. The voters make that decision, felonies or not. As far as the pardons, well, I've already said a couple of times, I don't much enjoy presidential pardons in any case, and I certainly didn't enjoy the Capitol rioters being pardoned. The two largest police unions in the country, the Fraternal Order of Police, and I'm sorry I forget the name of the other one, they issued a statement today, um, a statement regretting that the president has pardoned people who attacked and fought with police officers at the Capitol. They also mentioned, while they were at it, that they regretted that Joe Biden uh, pardoned uh, 37 people from death row before he left office, including one who was convicted of killing a police officer. So they noted both those things in their statement today. There's the phone number. You can give us a call, or you can send us an email at that email address. This emailer was asking, Ken, has this been the 3 coldest nights in a row on the record in North Carolina? Somebody told me it has been. I don't think so. I mean, it's 3 really cold nights, but no, I'm pretty sure this has not been the coldest 3 nights in a row ever in North Carolina. We've had colder. It seems to me we've had somebody might remember this. If you do, you can help me with it. It seems to me we've had a time where it was like single digits for 3 nights in a row. At some point a few years back, and we certainly haven't had that this time. It's certainly been cold enough, and as cold as we need it to be. But no, I'm confident this has not been the coldest 3 nights in a row in North Carolina weather history. Which, by the way, it's going to get warmer. Well, warmer is not the word. It's going to be less cold tomorrow night. Tonight will be kind of rough again. Then tomorrow night, I think the low tomorrow night is only going to be down to about 20, which is still colder than average, but it's an improvement, definite improvement. Ken, did you see any of the video on the snow at the beach today? You know, they had like 5 inches of snow in Kitty Hawk and Manteo and places like that. It's a crazy thing to see. I did see some of that video of snow at the beach. In particular, what I saw was at the Bodie Island. Some people say Bodie Island. I think they say Bodie Island Lighthouse, which is south of Manteo. It's kind of somewhere between Manteo and Cape Hatteras, between Kitty Hawk and Cape Hatteras out there is the Body Island Lighthouse. And I've been there a couple of times, but every time I go there, it's warm and the sun is shining and the grass is green and the birds are singing every time I go there. And I never thought about it under 5 inches of snow, but I saw that today from one of the, I think it's one of the Raleigh TV stations had been there and had posted some video of all that snow laying around the Body Island Lighthouse, and also had some pictures out along the beach. Snow, son of a gun. Oh, and they had some footage on it's US 158 that goes down past Kitty Hawk and Nag's Head and Kill Devil Hills. And they had video of US 158 covered in snow and ice. Nobody playing out there at the miniature golf thing with all the dinosaurs on it. Didn't see anybody at all out there playing. It is a very bizarre thing to see all that snow at the beach, at those places where you go in the summer and sit around in the sand and then go eat fish. Just weird and strange to see all that snow. Here's another one. We've had a couple of these about the New Jersey drones. Ken, did they shoot down the New Jersey drones? What happened? People just got kind of tired of the New Jersey drones, I guess. No, they didn't shoot them down. The culture moved on. The culture will get really fascinated with something for a week or two, and then something else happens, and folks move on. We have moved on from the New Jersey drones. I don't know any more about them than I ever knew, and I never was really worked up about the New Jersey drones, and apparently now no one else is either. So there's that. Have they said anything? Have they said anything yet? Asked the emailer about the casino in the General Assembly. I know a lot of people are thinking that they would bring it up again this year. What has happened so far? Well, nothing so far. Not yet. They really haven't really gotten underway yet. But when the General Assembly does pick up steam in another week or two, we will listen closely to hear if there's any mention of the casino in Rockingham County. And if there is, what do they say and who's saying it? I'm sure a lot of people in the county will be listening extremely closely to see if that comes up for discussion again this year. Ken, I read they had the schools closed in Durham and Raleigh today. They had so much snow and we didn't get a bit. That's not fair. Not fair to who? Not fair to us or not fair to them. I don't know about Raleigh. I know schools were closed in Durham today. I do know that. Whether if they were closed in Durham, then it would stand to reason they probably would have been closed in Raleigh too, given that they're right next to each other. But there was definitely no school today in Durham. The reason I know that's because I know somebody who teaches in Durham, so I know that. I further know, because I know somebody who teaches in Durham, that Durham schools will be open tomorrow, but it will be a remote learning day in Durham tomorrow. The schools will be open, but nobody has to show up. They just have to be in front of their computers. And I'm sure that many of them will be. As far as Raleigh, I don't know, but I know farther east, the farther east you go, the more snow there was. So I would imagine that schools are probably closed all over eastern North Carolina today, because those counties out there, they probably have even fewer snow plows than we have. So they were getting multiple inches of snow, and I doubt that they were well equipped to handle that. So I expect they got snow days all the way to the coast today, and certainly they got snow days in Florida and in Georgia and in South Carolina in the coastal areas. It was just one of those really, really strange storms. There's phone number. It's up there on your screen. The phone line is open right now if somebody cares to call. Now would be a good time to do that. The email address ought to be up there, probably is. But in case it's not, it's KECHOLS47@gmail.com if you'd like to give us a call or send us an email. Speaking of mail, it's not email, but it's mail. This emailer says, can I make charitable contributions on a regular basis? I think it's the right thing to do. I also think I'm required to do it by God. But my problem with it is it looks like that when you make a charitable contribution to somebody, that they sell your information to other people. Because I am getting, I can identify with this one. I am getting so much paper mail now from every charitable organization that you can think of or name or imagine. It is so much that I'm just having trouble dealing with it. Today alone, I had 11 not email. He wrote email, but he doesn't mean email. We're just in such a habit of writing. I'm pretty sure he just meant mail. I had 11 mail solicitations in my mailbox from charitable organizations asking me for money. And that's a typical day. I almost always have at least 4 or 5 every day. I have had as many as 15 in my mailbox in a single day. Don't you think that the charities could keep better relations with the people who support them if they didn't sell our information so that we get drowned with paper email from way too many organizations that anybody can afford to support? This will not stop me from making charitable donations. I just wish they would stop selling my contact information to other people. Well, they do by and large. I don't think all of them do, but I think most of them do. I've had the same experience. I also make charitable contributions, and I also get my mailbox stuffed with paper solicitations from all over. And I'd love to send everybody money if I could. I'd send every last one of them a bunch of money if I could do that. But I can't do it. I have to make decisions on where I make my contributions, and I do. But then everybody else finds out about me. I'm pretty sure for the very reason you mentioned is that they sell their contact lists. So there we are. And they call me. I had I won't name the charity because it would sound like I'm being critical of it, and I don't mean to do that. But I got a phone call from one who wanted me to become a monthly contributor. And what he wanted me to do was just set up my bank account so that they could automatically take a certain amount of money from my bank account each month, all year long. And I said, well, no, I'm not going to do that because I don't make my contributions to the same organization every month. It depends on different circumstances. So I'm not going to set up an every month contribution for any organization. Plus, the amount that he wanted me to agree to have drawn from my bank account every month over the course of a year would have amounted to less than what I had already given. It actually would have been less than what I had given his organization the very month before. So I said, look, I've already given you more money this year than you would get if I agreed to the automatic monthly withdrawal that you request. So, God bless you in your work. And I'm happy to give you money, and I will give you money again. And almost certainly I'll give you more than what you'd be getting from this automatic payment you want me to set up. But I'm just not going to do that. And might I also mention, and I was very, very polite, might I also mention that calling me on the phone doesn't make me feel better about you. Um, it's certainly it's not going to cause me not to give you any money anymore. It won't have any effect on that. But I would have a better feeling about you if you weren't calling me on the phone and it was like 7:30 in the evening. So I respectfully request that you not call me again. But I also assure you you'll continue to get contributions from me. And of course, they called me again. Um, but that's how life works. What can you do? I will still continue to give them money because they do good work and they deserve it, even though they called me again. Um, is a, is my phone broke? I'm going to check and make sure this phone is working. We should add more phone calls by now. Second, we do that and do this. Yeah, the phone works. In fact, hello, hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
How you doing tonight, Ken?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, man. You mentioned last night about the Waffle House Valentine dinner.
Oh yeah. You going?
Well, I don't know, man. Maybe I will, maybe not. I don't know. Now, if they tell me that they'll give me a discount on Motel 6 after the supper, now I might go.
Well, now that would be a nice package. Why don't they don't have this on Wheel of Fortune? They give away all those travel packages. How about an overnight stay at the Motel 6 in Mooresville, North Carolina, and 2 free dinners at the Waffle House? Now, people would play for that.
I think so too, man. I do. I had a friend one time. He used to stay at Motel 6 a lot, and he told me, he said, well, we'll leave a light on for you.
Yeah.
And the reason he said they did that was because, if they didn't, the place would be full of roaches. And if they turned the light on, left the light on for you, they'd hide until you got in, got settled, But
Well,
I've never seen one, but,
I went to a music show one in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. This was years ago. I can't remember the name of the place. It was a place where you walk down into the basement of somewhere, and there's a stage down there, and bands would come in there and play. Not high dollar bands, obviously, but bands. And I went down there one night to hear a band, and they finished the show. And then they passed the hat. It's one of those pass the hat for the band places.
right.
And so I was talking to the band guys, and I just happened to start talking about where they sleep at night because they were like on a tour. I said, well, where do you guys sleep at night? And one of them said, well, it depends on how much money is in the hat after the show. If there's not much money in the hat, we sleep in the van. If we get a lot of money, we sleep at Motel 6. So Motel 6 was the highlight of their tour, the nights they could get Motel 6.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, speaking of roaches, Ken, I worked over at the Chinky Pin Farm one summer as a groundskeeper mowing grass and stuff. And, I've seen some roaches in my life. But, they used to have these outside bathrooms where they're really inside bathrooms, but out there in the garage part where they kept the buggy equipment and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they had public restrooms where the people that was taking tours and stuff, when they're walking over the grounds, you could go in there and use the restroom. And I was standing there doing what I had to do one day. and the pipe came out of the wall, the supply line for the water for the urinal.
Mm.
And I saw something come out between that pipe and that wall, and it didn't take me but a split second to back up, Ken. But I'm not exaggerating, man. That place over there had roaches. If they were not 6 inches long, they weren't any. It was the scariest sight I ever saw in my life. And I've seen some scary sights, but from that day on, I never went back in that bathroom. You know what I'm saying?
The biggest one I ever saw, and I don't think it was 6 inches. This does not top yours. It wasn't 6 inches, but it was big. Biggest one I ever saw was on the sidewalk in Washington, D.C., in front of the U.S. Capitol.
Oh,
Uh,
Lord.
it was, and why wouldn't it be? It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I was out there. We don't need to get into anything beyond that. I just was out there at 1 o'clock in the morning in front of the Capitol building, and a roach came by. You could almost hear it walking. It was so. That's the biggest one I ever saw. But no, it was not 6 inches. It didn't reach yours.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, man, I had never seen a roach that, and I asked, the other people working, I said, how big do the roaches get around here? He said, man, they're unbelievable. I said, well, I've never seen one that big, but yeah, I can imagine that the roach walking down the highway out there, the one you're talking about, it probably sounded like it had heel taps on. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I guess out there, if they're in a place where they have lots of nourishment and not many predators, they thrive. In fact, I guess they thrive everywhere.
Yeah. Tell you another little quick story too, Ken. I worked and retired from the county over in Wentworth, and our original shop, used to be in the basement of the old jail, not the big jail, but the old original jail in Wentworth. And the fire marshal's office was on the first floor above us, and I can't remember what was above that. But anyway, the old jail cells were like another floor or two up. Matter of fact, tore a floor or two off of it. But anyway, the fire marshal's secretary came running down the basement steps one Monday morning, and she says, y'all got to do something about this. Y'all got to do something about this. And we asked her what it was. And she said, it's a rat in my commode in the bathroom.
Ooh.
And me and the supervisor went on down there, and we didn't really believe it. But anyway, we got to her bathroom, office bathroom there. And sure enough, Ken, it was a wharf rat in the commode. I mean, it's a good-sized wharf rat.
Wow.
And the supervisor, he had like a glove on. He would look down and pick it up. When he did, he pulled it just about completely out of the bowl of the commode, and all of a sudden it slipped out of the glove and went right back down in the hole in the commode and swam on out. And but I couldn't understand that either. But the sewer system for the old jail system up there used to be a sand filter system, and it exited from the lower part of the old jailhouse building down there. It was an old septic system.
Yeah.
So naturally, they could crawl right up in the pipe of those sewer lines and come up in a commode.
So it swam down the toilet.
It did. It went back down through that hole. I stood there and watched it. It went back down through that hole, Ken, just like greased lightning.
It's like it was at the water park.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a water slide. Huh? But needless to say, again, I never sat on another commode in the old maintenance jailhouse bathrooms again either, because just imagine do what you got to do, and you come up and you got a wharf rat stuck to you. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if I could sit with confidence on that toilet either. I think I'd have to hold it until I
No
got
doubt.
somewhere.
No doubt. Yep. All right, Ken. Thanks for calling in, and have a great weekend.
Thanks for calling. Roaches and rats. Rats and everybody's favorite things, roaches and rats. There's the phone number up there. If you'd like to give us a call, you can email us at kechols47 at gmail.com. Emailer says, Ken, was that cockroach you saw outside the Capitol a Republican or a Democrat? I don't know. I don't know. I didn't ask. But it's a legitimate question, though, I think. Legitimate question. I have a question about, well, we'll get to that question later. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Ken. Let's change the subject a little bit. Them
Okay.
rats getting
Let's
start
do it.
making skin crawl.
All right. Change the subject.
Yeah, they are. Let's talk about other kinds of rats.
All
The
right.
human kind of walk. All right. But Ken, I had a conversation with a Republican the other day that agreed with me that if someone assault a police officer, you should go to jail. Now, protests are legal, but attacking police officers, they should go to jail, whether they Democrat or Republican. And I say one thing, that I will vote for Tom Tillis next election because he stand up for what's right regarding this issue, despite his unpopularity with the party. I give Tom Tillis credit for his stance, and every man in blue should also. Okay, the next thing, they said that many immigrants are self-deporting, and others are afraid to go to work and are staying at home. And I ask you, what will this do to our depleted workforce we have already? Will we see hiring signs appear on every corner?
You know, it's hard to say. I've read a lot of opinions about what the effect would be. I read about. Let's talk about North Carolina, since that's
Okay.
where we are. All
right.
I've read a study by the Pew Charitable Trust, another one by somebody else. I can't remember the other organization. But their estimate is that there are between 100,000 and 300,000. You can't be sure. Between 100,000 and 300,000 undocumented aliens working in North Carolina in various jobs. About 40% of them in construction, not surprisingly, and about another 30-40% of them working in agriculture. But anyway, their estimate is number is somewhere between 100,000 and 300 working. Now, they estimate there are about 500,000 undocumented aliens in North Carolina. Of course, a lot of them are kids and people who are not working for whatever reason. But among the working ones, 100 to 300,000. So it stands to reason that if that many workers are taken out of the labor force, especially where they're concentrated in one or two industries, which would be construction and agriculture, then certainly it's going to have some effect. I mean, it cannot fail to have some effect. The question would be, will these companies be able to find enough domestic workers to fill those jobs? I don't know. The reason so many undocumented workers got into jobs in the first place is because the companies say they couldn't find enough domestic workers to fill the job.
Yeah.
So, you know, it tells you that there'll be some sort of effect. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it'll be something.
Okay, and another question I have is, can a president executive order override the Constitution, such as birthright citizenship?
Well, no. I mean, nothing can override the Constitution in theory. Here's the question about birthright citizenship. It says, and this is not an exact quote, but this is close, all persons born within the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens. The courts have always ruled since the 19th century. The courts have consistently ruled that subject to the jurisdiction above, jurisdiction thereof, applies to foreign diplomats who are in this country but not subject to our jurisdiction.
Right,
the
right,
courts have ruled that everybody else,
right.
whether they're in the country legally or not, is subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, and that's why they have ruled that all their children are citizens. The Trump administration is saying that the subject to the jurisdiction thereof has been misinterpreted. They don't think it means that. And that's the
Uh-huh.
basis on which he's issued that executive order. But only the courts will be able to answer that question.
Yeah. And one last thing. Will you explain to the viewers about the DEI uh, organization, administration that had put on notice and put on leave absence and subject to being laid off? That benefit veterans as well as people minority as far as finding them jobs and everything. That's not that organization just does not deal with diversity only.
Well, it's I guess you've sort of explained it already. Diversity, equality, and inclusion.
Yeah.
All the efforts in the federal government and in the military, the president is discontinuing. Um, and I don't. I think it kind of explains itself. It's essentially it's affirmative action is what it amounts to.
Yeah.
President Trump says that's not what we need to do. Everybody should be hired based on merit, and we shouldn't even think about what group they're in or their sexual preference or their status or anything else. So I'm shutting this down, and that's what's happening.
So, like, now, this is the thing about it. Okay, I know when one time I applied for the postal exam.
Mm-hmm.
All right, veterans, if you were a veteran in this area, veterans receive 10 points on the test. You remember that?
Yes, I remember.
Okay. Yeah, and which is fair because they went out and served the country, so they should have some benefit for that. All right. Now, according to this policy, everybody is the same in all, and we know that that's not the way it will be enforced. But will they take those 10 points away from the veterans?
I don't know. I don't know that the veterans' preference would be included in this. I mean that existed before the government had DEI,
Yeah.
and my feeling, I don't know for sure, but I think, and I would hope that will continue no matter what, because veterans have earned that.
That's right. That's right. I agree 100%. But see, that existed before, but the DEI has been instrumental in maintaining that because the subject came up once before. In Vance said, the vice president said in 2021 that Trump should fire every civil servant and replace them with his appointments.
Well, that is, I think, what the president wants to do. The problem is the problem or the obstacle or whatever, however you want to characterize it, is the civil service employment was set up mainly by Congress.
Yes.
And what Congress sets up, generally speaking, only Congress can take down. I don't know how much. I don't know how much the president can legally do to change federal employment practices and job protections. Now, there's a certain
Right.
segment. There's a certain segment of the federal workforce that basically belongs to the president. That he can make political appointments, and they do make
Appointments.
political appointments.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's several thousand federal workers, but the bulk of the
Sure.
federal workforce has job protections established largely by Congress. I don't
Right.
know if the president can take those away. That might be something else that can only be answered by the courts.
Right. All right, Ken. It is a lot to keep a watch. Keep an eye on and see how this plays out. Whether it's loyalty or legality, that is what I will be looking for in the next few months and years. And I thank you for your time, Ken.
Well, thanks for calling. In any event, there will probably going to be some interesting court arguments and some interesting court cases over the next few months and years. Interesting to say the least. Phone line is open, and there's the number on your screen. The email address is kechols47@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear from you either by phone or by email. Ken, I don't understand why they even have birthright citizenship. I know that's what the Constitution says, but I don't understand why they would have put that in the Constitution. Well, they had a reason. We'll get back to that in a second. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Mr. Ken. I'm late.
Well, you are. You sleep in tonight?
No, I had business to do this morning. I had to get my taxes off.
Oh, your taxes. Yeah. I guess you have to do that, don't you?
Well, I took it to my tax preparer and had them prepare it and send it off for me.
Man, you are efficient. What is this, January? What is today, 22nd? And you've already
Yes.
got your taxes filed? That's pretty good.
Yes. I got my W-2 yesterday from my employer.
Okay. That's about as quick as anybody I know does it. January 22nd. I'm guessing you get a refund. You wouldn't be that eager if you weren't getting a refund.
That's confidential.
All right. We'll pass on by that one then.
I forgot to call. I didn't get home and talk to Charles about the movie tickets, but I will talk to him Monday.
All right. Don't let him put you off.
Yes, I will talk to him about the movie tickets Monday, sir.
Be
And
sure
well, sir,
remind
you
him.
have a
Be sure
you have a good week.
All right.
Have
you
a good
go
weekend,
ahead.
sir.
All right. Well, you have a good weekend too.
Yes, I
Thank
yield the rest of my time to somebody.
Well, thanks for calling. Man's already got his taxes filed on January 22nd. Who does that other than people who are getting a big refund and they don't want to wait for it? I personally will not have mine done in January or February or March because I'm not getting a big refund. I do have hope of breaking even this year. I tried to set it up so I would break even this year. So that's what I'm looking for. I'll find out for sure. Oh, somewhere around April 15th. I'll get that taken care of, and we'll know. The emailer is wondering about birthright citizenship and the 14th Amendment. How come that was in the Constitution? The reason they put that in the Constitution in the first place was after the Civil War, Congress wanted to make sure that all freed slaves would be U.S. citizens. And there was controversy back and forth, and there were some states and some places who said they weren't going to recognize slaves as citizens, and on and on and on. so they came up with the 14th Amendment simply to ensure that all the slaves who were freed at the end of the war would be citizens. So that was the reason it was put in there in the first place. Obviously, that was not going to be a long-term use for it, but that was the initial reason for it. Now, they may have also been thinking of other things. They might have had other issues in mind. I don't know. But I know the primary reason was to make sure that freed slaves would be citizens. And the subject to the jurisdiction thereof, the qualifier there, that's been the topic of arguments for a very long time, for a couple of centuries. Well, not a couple of century and a half, close to it. A subject of argument, exactly what does that mean? But again, the courts have said that, well, the most reasonable application of that is it means that children of foreign diplomats are not citizens if they're born here, because foreign diplomats are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. The Trump administration argument is, and will be when, not if, but when it goes to court, that undocumented aliens, illegal aliens, are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States because they're in the country illegally. That's what they will argue. The other side will argue, well, yes, they are. If they weren't, we wouldn't be able to arrest them. So there we go. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Ken, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Fine, thanks. I want to just say my granddaughter from Myrtle Beach come up here last Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and I give her a snow sled.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I did, and she carried it back to Myrtle Beach Sunday, and man, they had a time with it today.
Now, did they have the only snow sled in Myrtle Beach?
They couldn't find a snow sled down there.
Wow.
So
did they take it on the beach? Where did they go with it?
I think they went to it was somewhere around Myrtle Beach that had some hills and everything.
Yeah. Oh man,
and,
what a time.
They had 5 inches of snow down there.
Do they have kids?
My daughter does.
Boy, don't you know those children had a time.
Oh yeah. And last night they made snow ice cream.
Wow, in Myrtle Beach.
Do you remember snow ice cream?
I remember snow ice cream. We used to eat it all the time. We had a one of those things with a ice cream maker, and we'd put snow and stuff in there. We had snow cream a lot.
Oh yeah. But anyway, enjoy your show, and I enjoy talking to you, and I just wanted to let you know Myrtle Beach had 5 inches of snow.
Well, that was an experience for them, and thank goodness they had a snow sled.
That's it.
Okay.
Because you know you can't find those snow sleds at the beach.
I never see a snow sled in the Wings store, not the first one.
No. Well, enjoy your show. Have a good one.
Calling. Thanks a lot. How about that, folks? 5 inches of snow in Myrtle Beach, and at least that one family had a sled to ride on. My goodness. Just trying to think, but when was the last time you could have used a snow sled at Myrtle Beach? I don't have to look that up. I expect it's been a pretty good while since they had no snow to sled on. Hi, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Ken. How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, thank you. You hit that attic.
Oh yeah, I got a heater. I got a heater sitting over there in the corner.
Okay. Excuse me, Lord. Uh, say you got a heater sitting in the
Yeah,
corner?
yeah, I got one of those
Oh,
quartz heaters over there in the corner. It heats it up real nice in here.
oh, okay, that's good.
Now
Yeah,
I've
I've
got
got.
a vent. I got a vent here from the furnace, but the warm air from the furnace has a hard time getting up here from down there.
Time time it gets there, it's cooled off through the pipes.
Yeah, it loses some of its vigor by the time it gets here.
Yeah, I fixed all that on mine. Mine will blow. You can feel it blowing 6 feet away when I put
Oh,
that new blower motor on it, and I cleaned the fins out of the blower itself. They
yeah,
were packed full of dust, and it was hard. And I had to take a really stiff bristle parts cleaning brush for an automotive parts cleaning brush
yeah.
and clean those fins out. And after I did that, oh my gracious! I mean, I'd have to get down 2 feet away from it to see if it was blowing from the floor.
Really?
And now I can stand 6 feet away and feel it blowing.
Well, I had the furnace guy came and looked at mine like in November. I guess he would have cleaned that blower. I guess they
Not
do.
likely. If you didn't have a blower motor problem, he would have not pulled all of that out.
Huh.
A lot of action to get to that. Yeah.
Well, maybe I ought to go look
Yeah.
at that if I can.
Well, you can't see it. You can't see the blower. It's inside of a case. You have to take the 5/16 screws out of the side of the heater, and then there it is, the round squirrel cage box, and you got to
Yeah,
unbolt it and drag it out,
and
and then you can't get.
that's in
You
a
got to get it
crawl.
completely. You got to get it completely out, and then take the cage off of the motor in order to clean both sides of it.
Well, I'm pretty sure the furnace guy didn't do that, and I doubt I'm going to crawl under there and do that either. 'Cause it's not in a basement; it's in a crawl space.
Mine is too. I can be on my knees under there, but that's about it, and I have to sit on my heels, and that doesn't do good for my lumbar all fused together and all of that. But I've done it twice, and the reason the first motor I replaced went bad was because all of that dust was throwing that cage out of balance and sitting on the end of that armature on the electric motor. Unbalanced, it wore out the bushings in the shaft on the armature. Yeah, so
Oh,
that's how it went bad.
let me ask
Yeah,
you a question.
and then after that, I had to replace the igniter. I told you I broke like 4 times.
Oh yeah, I got a question for you. We got time for a
Okay,
question. Did you ever see any snow in Florida?
no,
Never saw any.
no,
They
no.
got
But I said stoplight in Cocoa Beach and watched the Challenger implode,
oh
and
gosh.
yeah, and I run into a drugstore, got film, loaded my camera, and still had time enough to take pictures of it all falling. And my ex-wife was out on a 41-footer harbor patrol boat in the ocean there, a couple of miles offshore, to keep all the traffic out of the way while the shuttle was being launched.
Yeah.
And she said the stuff was falling all around them, and that about the biggest part that fell around them was about big as a car hood.
Hmm. Did you know
Yeah,
what
and
it was when you saw it? Did you immediately know what it was?
yeah, my buddy said, "Look, there goes the shuttle." I said, "Yeah, hey, look, it ain't doing right. It's going too slow." He said, "No, it's changing boosters, dropping the boosters." I said, "If it drops them now, it ain't gonna work. It's too soon." About that time, there it went.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I saw it happen, and I just didn't know what was it. I saw it. I thought, man, if they're going too slow, it ain't never going to get up in space.
Oh, well,
So
that's a bad day.
anyway, I got parts of the solid rocket booster fuel that the clammers would drag up off the ocean floor, getting clams,
Yeah.
and I had 2 chunks about big as your head, and you could take your knife and cut a piece of it off. I told you this before, I believe. Cut a piece of it off and let it strike it on fire, and it'll run around in circles left and right and take off down the road and do all kind of crazy stuff till it goes out.
Well, I'm out of time.
Oh, okay. I didn't even talk to you about why I called, but have a
Well,
good weekend.
Call me next time about whatever that is. And thanks
All
for calling.
right. All right. Have a good night. Have a good
Good night.
weekend.
You too. That's all the time we have for Star Talk for this week. We're on the air Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. I hope you'll join us next time. Thanks for watching. I'm Ken Echols.